For this tutorial, we're going to look at something with a bit more complexity. So at the moment, we've made a crate, which is just one object by itself. We've made the weapon, so two objects in there, the kind of blade and the hilt. You may have had more objects, but you shouldn't have had just one. And now we're going to look at creating something a little bit more complex. So this is just some reference art that I've got. We'll be looking at creating something like this, or like this. Like this, kind of like a medieval building. And I mean, I've found loads of different reference images here that I could take inspiration from. I'm not going to worry about texturing this at the moment. I'm going to texture it at the end rather than going through it. So going back to Blender, I'm going to start with just a simple cube rectangle shape. So I'm going to add this mesh in. Cube. I'm going to bring it up so that it's pretty much flat on the world like that. That's fine. Not a big deal. It's just going to drive me crazy if I see it halfway through the ground there all the time. Then I'm going to scale it along the y-axis that way and scale it along the x-axis that way. Okay, that's going to form my basis, I guess, the ground. I'm going to then add in another object. I don't really need to do anything with this now because I just want to get the basic shape down. So I'm going to add another object, mesh cube. I'll bring that up so I can see it. And I'll once again scale that along the Y. And I want to turn on this snapping down here and snap to face. Okay, so the magnet snap to face. That way when I hit scale and scale along the Y, I can just click on this object's face here and it will make it the same size. And same with this edge, scale X, do that. But then I actually want to scale on the X a little bit more. So I get that kind of shape there. Okay, so it looks like it's overhanging a bit. Then I'm going to add in another object. This one's going to be a cube as well. I'm going to bring it all the way up. And if I hit G, grab it and put it on there. I'll bring it into the center as close as I can get it. I might just undo those movements. There we go, that should be in the center. And this time I'm going to go into this and edit it, and I'm going to grab these two vertices and hit Alt-M to merge them at the center. And these two vertices, Alt-M to merge them at the center. That's going to give me a triangle shape. There's plenty of other ways that you could do that. This is probably the easiest way. I'm just going to bring this up quite a bit along that x-axis. Then I'm going to select those two edges there and scale them out along the x-axis until they get to, I'll just quit that, scale X until they get to that face. And then same with this way, scale, oops, and then I'll select the entire object, scale along the Y until it gets to there. Okay, so there's my basic shape. I'm going to need to, of course, add things to this to make it a bit more interesting. So let's go ahead and add some other shapes to this now. I'm going to go ahead and add in another object, a cube. I'll bring it up, bring it out this way, keep going, and I'll grab this side of it and just snap it to there. Now, sometimes I might want to use vertex snapping, so I'm going to hit that and grab that vertex and snap it down there. So that means it's right on the edge there, and I'm going to bring it across a little bit. I'm just going to slide it until I find a good height for it. Now I'm going to go into edit mode for this one, go to face mode, drag that face back a bit, oh, not too far. If you've got the magnet on and it glitches out on you, you can just hold control and that will ignore the magnet essentially. I'm going to do a ring cut on this around here, about to there or so, maybe there. And I'll go back to face mode. I'm just going to bring these in a little bit more, like that. And then I'm going to go back into vertice mode, select these two, Alt M, and I'm going to merge them at the last one that I selected. Same with these two here. Alt M, merging them at the last one that I selected. Okay, so I've got a little side building here. Now I'm going to duplicate this. Alt D. It's going to bring it round. I'm going to rotate it along the Z axis. Rotate it 90 degrees. No, 180. 270 maybe. 270. That's it. And use vertex snapping. Grab. Snap it to there. Move it along a bit. Like that. I might even move it. No, I'll just leave it like that. Okay, so I've got an interesting looking shape here. I might just scale these two things in a little bit along that x-axis, like that, so they're not overhanging as much. Okay, so I've got some shapes there. What I want to get from here is I want to start to build maybe the wooden posts that go on here. So I'm going to do that for maybe 2 or 3 wooden posts and then just duplicate them all around the place. Once I've finished with the entire model, what I'm going to do is just combine it all down. So I'm going to thrash it all down and combine it all into one big object. It doesn't matter that things are overlapping. Actually, this does here. So I will just grab that. Why am I'm in edit mode. I'll bring this up. So G and lock it to that Z and snap it to that vertice there. Okay. So vertice snapping is really, really handy. It's these things down here. Play around with the snapping tools. They're going to help you a lot, making sure that your model is pretty accurate and well done. Okay. Now, next part is to create those wooden beams. So let's add in another cube. We're working with a lot of cubes. This time, I'm just going to snap this vertice to there. And I'm going to make it a lot smaller. I'm going to scale it in. Oh, actually, I can just go into here, grab the face, and bring that face right in. And then grab this face and bring that right in there. I want it to be kind of square. That's still too big. So let's bring it in some more. And this side, bring it in some more. That looks like a good size for a post. I'm going to subdivide this whole thing once. So I hit A to select everything. And then subdivide like that. Then I'm going to do 2 ring cuts on it. One here. And one here. I might do 3. And maybe another one there. Okay, now with this selected, what I'm going to do is go into sculpt mode and just sculpt it so it's not so and then you subtract a little bit. Okay, it's just going to look a little bit more natural, like a big solid plank of wood. Okay, so I've made one of those, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap this center point here. So I need to grab all of that, hit G. That doesn't want to do that. So let's see if I can change this to median. That'll do. And then I'll just pull it up until it, I'll hit G. Let's change it back to closest or center. Closest is fine. And pull it to there. Okay, so that should be fine for that one. Then what I want to do is duplicate this. So I can go back out of edit mode, right click on this object. What am I in? I'm in sculpt mode, so go to object mode. Alt D will duplicate this, and I'll put it over there. It's on that edge. I might need to move it out a little bit. Made a mistake here. Go into object mode. Not sure why the center of the object is there. I think I can set origin. There we go, that'll do it. And I'll just position it. Now it doesn't even have to be exact here, as long as it looks fine, it's all right. And the top and the bottom are aligned, that's the important part, which they're not quite, so I'll need to just move that up a little bit. And what I can probably do is just scale it a bit so I don't need to be too exact. Okay, things are going to overlap here. Alt D, duplicate that to over here. Let's bring it up a little bit like that. Pull it this way because I want it to sit in there like that. Okay, then I can select those. I'll select that one again. Alt D, bring it this way. Bring that to there, bring it in, bring it that way. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then Alt D, bring it that way. Okay, that's all looking pretty good there. So I've got those 4 planks. Now pretty much from here, I'm just going to want to build more of them. So I'm going to want to build some that go along here. So that's going to be, I could duplicate this and scale it, but I'm actually going to make a different one for now. So I'm going to add another cube. I'll just bring it out of there and bring it up here. Scale it down. Bring it out again. Scale it down. Whoa. About that size. Then scale it along the Y. Oops, no, not along the Y. Along the X axis. Pretty much quite a bit. And position it. So I should be able to position it in the center, but that's fine. I'll go into there and do it in this way manually. So drag that face out to here. And I will do a whole lot of ring cuts on this. So if I just go Control R and then click, turn the number of cuts up, maybe 9 or 10, should be fine. Hit enter. And go into face mode, then sculpt mode. I can just start drawing around with those. Probably did need an extra ring cut on it, but that'll be fine. Okay, so I can draw with those and then add to it. Okay, so that's that part there. I'm going to duplicate that all around the thing. You will need to switch between these things down here sometimes, because tab will switch between the 2 that you're previously working with. So if you're working with sculpt mode, it'll switch between that. So I hit Alt D and I bring it over this side here, and I'll just pull it out a little bit like that. With this one, I'm going to want to bring it in just so it's kind of sitting on top of those planks of wood. Not a little bit out from it, maybe just a little bit out from it, not too much. Okay, like that there, like that there. Same thing around this side, same thing along here. So let's see if I can duplicate both of these at the same time. Alt D, I can. Let's bring them to there, shuffle them just a little bit that way, like that. And then same with this here, but I'm going to need to rotate it. So Alt D will duplicate it. I'll just stick it here for the time being. I'm going to rotate around that Z axis 90 degrees and then grab it. Oops, I'm hitting F. G. Grab it there. Hold Control. And I'll just work on placing one of them for now, because it looks like they're the right size, so that's good. Okay, that's that one. And that one there done. All right. Then I'll grab both of those. Alt D, duplicate them up. So I've got that happening there. We can see that they're not perfect. I could go in and sculpt some of them. Now what's going to happen, when I click on this and sculpt it, you see all the other ones line up as well. And that's because they're actual duplicates. So if I sculpt this and add stuff to it, all the others should also change as well. Okay, so that one down there should have changed. At least if I do that, you'll see that it will change. The others have changed, except these ones, the face is in the other way. Okay, so I can do it that way. I could just manually change a few things as well if I needed to. But you can see that these have changed, so that's all good. This side here does need some sculpting, so I'll go into sculpt, and I'll just run my mouse along there a little bit and do the subtract tool as well. And it's just giving it a little bit of shape, so it's not perfectly straight, which a piece of wood wouldn't be, at least not in this time. Okay, so I've got that there. Going to go into here, duplicate these two, bring them up along that Z axis. Scale them along that X. I won't scale them along the X. I'll just move them. And this one as well. I might need to scale this one along that Z axis, just make it a little bit smaller. And like I said, it's not a big deal if they overlap or not. It's meant to look pretty rough. Duplicate those, scale them along that, then move them along the Y axis, move them right out there, and I can scale them back. Okay, so we'll plot those there. So that's looking pretty neat at the moment. Now, I'm going to pretty much leave the rest of it up to you and just pause the video and then undo it when I'm done. One other thing I do want to add, I will model this now, is a window of some sort. So you're going to need some more planks of wood down here. They don't have to be as thick as mine are. You're going to want to also model some windows and doors, modular of course, so that you can scale them, roofs, and in the final reveal I'll show you how to do that. Probably some supports to go under here so that it's not just floating in the air. And I just noticed that should come down a bit lower, probably the same on that side. Yep, and probably the same there as well. And that one seems okay. All right. I'm just going to merge everything. I don't want you to do this now. I'm just going to merge it, then I'm going to undo it. Okay, so when I go into it, I can see that it's currently looking like that. Okay, there are some issues here. This middle section, for some reason, it's completely back to front. Some of these models are back to front. Not sure why that is, but we can sort that out later. I'll just undo that. There we go. So we're back to there. So finish off the house. Find some inspiration images. You know, this is the one that I'm kind of working with here. And if I just go into there at that angle and look at it, you can kind of see where I'm heading towards with that. Mine's not as neat. I'm going for a bit of a rougher look than this one, but it's the same general shape at the moment. I'll need to add something to the top. Those windows are all modular, so I only need to make one and then I can duplicate it multiple times. I'll pause the video here and well, it won't seem to pause to you. So in a sec, you'll see the finished model. Okay, so I've made the final thing. I've got the roof on there, and the roof was just basically extruding, adding a whole lot of subdivisions, and then using the sculpt tool to rough it up a bit. I've got these windows, and they're all duplicates of one another. So I made one of them using a plane, some simple, what would you call it? Loop cut and slide, and subdivisions, pushing and pulling things in or extruding things in. These here, I made these by making an array. I could have just duplicated it, and what I'm going to need to do is actually apply this so that it's not a problem anymore. I probably shouldn't have made it an array actually, but what I'm going to want to do really is, before I merge it all into one thing, I'm going to need to texture it. So that's what the next video is going to be about, and just setting this up for texturing. So I've got this down the bottom here, and this is a module by itself. I need to make a door somewhere, but as you can see, it's not looking too bad. If I hit render and render image, oh, no camera is found in scene. Let's see, where can I put a camera? Add camera, and I'll move that camera just to here. I'm not sure where that's pointing. We'll set it up somewhere over here. I haven't really played with the camera much in Blender, so no idea what this is going to look like. And I do need a light source, so I'll just go add. You don't need to do this, by the way. Add the sun and hit render, render image. Ugh, that looks horrible. And I can tell you that it looks horrible because of where the sun is located. So if I just go back to 3D view and add in a few point lights, add lamp point. Oh, the sun's located inside there, so this is a point light. If I hit 12, I think it is to render. Yeah, there. Okay, so this is looking like a real mess down here, but that's because I've got no proper shading on it, no texturing, anything like that. But it will look like wood when I put texture on it, and I'm not going to render it in here anyway, so it's not a problem. Go back to 3D view, and that's the rendered view of it actually. So I can put it into rendered view. It's a bit laggy. Texture, there's no texture. Solid is generally where we work. Okay, so from here, there was one other thing that I was looking at before. I'll just delete these cameras and these lights. Is that later on, once I've textured it all and I merge it all into one model, and then go to edit it, oops, Control J. First of all, some of these arrays have disappeared, so I need to sort that out. But all of this part here has gone inside out, which means when you render it, if I go to rendered, where there's no light source, but part of it will be invisible, which I don't want. If I look at texture, no, it's not going to work. So this part here, these darker parts will be invisible. Anyway, to fix that, I just go into here, select everything and push Control N, and it should sort it. Now these are back to front here, but that's because of the way that my plane was made, so it would be as simple as editing that. But I want to get the textures on it first. In most cases, it's not even necessary to model it down to one thing, because we're not going to use a UV map for this. So I'll just go back to there. We're not going to actually use a UV map for this. We're going to keep everything separate. I might just grab this and put it over here, and that way I can model a door and put that there. Okay, so we're actually going to keep everything separate. We're going to have separate textures for the windows, for the walls, for the wood, and so on. And we'll look at that in the next video. Okay, so that's there. I haven't really worried about the back side of it. I've just looked at the front in this case. I'm going to save that. And so if you can come up with something similar to that, that would be fantastic. Now this is completely modular as well, so I could go ahead and use this to construct a different house, because everything here is modular, as I said.